Hello fellow travelers, my name is SG and welcome to the channel. Today we'll be continuing with Dante's Inferno with Canto 11. Last time we saw Virgil and Dante, they were still making their way through the 6th circle and have almost reached the end. They were confronted by a giant who is looking for a son who happened to be able to speak both the future and the past. So yeah, now let's continue on, shall we? Upon the margins of a lofty bank, with great rocks broken in a circle made, we came upon a still more cruel throng, and there by reason of the horrible excess of stench the deep abyss throws out, we drew ourselves aside behind the cover of a great tomb whereon I saw a writing, which said, Pope Anastasius I hold, whom out of the right way Photius drew. Slow is behoven our descent to be, so that the sense be first a little used to the sad blast, and when we shall not heed it. The master thus, and unto him I said, some compensation find, that the time pass on idly. And he, thou seest I think of that. My son, upon the inside of these rocks, began he then to say, are 3 small circles, from grade to grade like those which thou art leaving. They are all full of spirits melodict, but the hereafter sight alone suffice thee. Hear how and wherefore they are in constraint. Of every malice that wins hate in heaven, injury is the end, and all such end either by force or fraud afflicteth others. But because fraud is man's peculiar vice, more it displeases God, and so stands lowest. The fraudulent and greater dole assails them. All the first circle of the violent is, but since force may be used against 3 persons, in 3 rounds 'tis divided and constructed. To God, to ourselves, and to our neighbor can we use force. I say on them, and on their things, as thou shalt not hear with reason manifest. A death by violence and painful wounds are to our neighbor given, and in his substance ruin and arson and injurious levies, whence homicides and he whom smites unjustly, marauders and freeboarder boosters, to fire round tormenteth all in companies diverse. Man may lay violent hands upon himself and his own goods, and therefore in the 2nd round must performance without avail repent. Whoever of your world deprives himself, who games and dissipates his property, and weepeth there where he should Josut be, violence can be done the deity, in heart denying and blaspheming him, and by disdaining nature and her bounty. And for this reason doth the smallest round seal, and the sight Sodom and cohorse, and who disdaining God speaks from the heart. Fraud wherewithal is every conscience strung, a man may practice upon him who trusts, and him who doth no confidence imburse. This latter mode, it would appear, dissevers only the bond of love which nature makes, where within the 2nd circle nestle hypocrisy, flattery, and who deal in magic, falsification, theft, and simony, panders and barterers, and the like filth. By the other mode forgotten is that love which nature makes, and what is after added, from which there is a special faith ingraded. Hence in the smallest circle, where the point is of the universe, upon which this is seated, whoever betrays forever is consumed. And I, my master, clear enough proceeds thy reasoning, and full well distinguishes this cavern and the people who possess it. But tell me, those within the fat lagoon, whom the wind drives, and whom the rain doth beat, and who encounter with such bitter tongues, wherefore are they inside of the red city not punished, if God has them in his wrath, and if he has not, wherefore in such fashion? And unto me he said, why wanderest so thine intellect from that which is it wont? Or soothe thy mind where it is elsewhere looking? Hast thou not recollection of those words, with which thine ethics thoroughly discusses, the dispositions there that heaven abides not, it consistence and malice, and inside bestiality, and how incontinence, lest God offendeth, and lest blame attracts. If thou regardest this conclusion well, and to thy mind recast the who thy are, that are outside are undergoing penance, clearly wilt thou perceive thy from this felons, they separated are, and while less wroth justice divine doth smite them with its hammer. O Son, that healest all detentered vision, thou dost connect me so, when thou resolvest that doubling pleases me no less than knowing. Once more a little backward turned thee, and I said, there where thou sayest that usually offends God goodness divine, and disengage the knot. Philosophy, he said, to him who heeds it, knoweth not only in one place alone, after what manner nature takes her course, from intellect divine and from its art, and if thy physics carefully thou knowest, after not many pages shalt thou find, that this your art, as far as possible, follows as the disciples doth the master, so that your art is as it were God's grandchild. And these two, if thou bringest to thy mind Genesis at the beginning, it behooves mankind to gain their life and to advance. And since the usurer takes another way, nature herself and in her follower disdain he, for elsewhere he puts his hope. But follow now, as I would fain go on, for quivering are the fishes of the horizon, and the wane wholly over Carius lies, and far beyond there we descend the crag. Alright, now that we've read the chapter, let's talk about it, shall we? Now, this chapter is more explaining what the sixth circle is, what violence could send you to hell in this circle specifically. And Virgil explains, well, violence can be separated into three different forms. It says to your neighbor, to yourself, and to God. And how to God and to yourself are basically the same thing. To your neighbor, it's basically you can have a fight with him, you can steal from him, you do a various number of things. So to your neighbor could send you to hell in this circle. To yourself is a mix of different things actually. It's denying yourself certain things, denying nature, denying what God gives you along the way. It's to deny what's good just for yourself. And in that same vein, that's kind of insulting God. You're cursing God for giving you something that he thinks you deserve in a way like that. It's an odd way of explaining it, and Virgil just says that there is a good separation of it, and that in itself is knowledge. Learning philosophy, gaining a moral guide, that's the good reasoning behind it. Not to ask too little, not to ask too much, and try not to hurt no one else in the way. And to do that, you need to be not smarter, you just need to be wiser. You need to accept knowledge, you need to accept a moral ground that you can separate things in. And that's really where things kind of should be, in the middle ground. Alright, I hope you guys enjoyed this chapter. I did like this one. We'll be continuing on a little further. If you have a suggestion for me to go tackle the rest of the series, if you think I should, do just a quick run through of it, the rest of it. But I would do know for the next couple weeks I will be doing another couple chapters. Let me know in the comment section. Thanks again for listening. I hope you guys enjoy, and see you guys next time. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment if you want. See you later.